welcome to this explainer. Today, we're unpacking a massive structural transformation that's currently reshaping the enterprise tech world. We're going on a journey, right? Moving from a disconnected, fundamentally chaotic IT network to the streamlined, self-driving autonomy of ZioSet. If you've ever felt the absolute pain of managing an organization's tech stack, where every system kind of feels like a sprawling puzzle with critical missing pieces, and your team is just constantly putting out fires instead of innovating, well, you're going to really appreciate this breakdown. We're going fundamentally deep into how overwhelming digital chaos gets transformed into reliable, systematic order. Okay, so picture your organization right now. Literally at this exact second, there are thousands of devices, software licenses, and hardware endpoints essentially floating aimlessly in the dark within your network. There's no overarching order, no unified structure, just fragmented nodes that are completely invisible to the very IT and security pros who are held responsible for them. It's a pretty eerie reality when you step back and think about it. Vast amounts of incredibly expensive digital real estate operating entirely off the grid, right under your nose. And this is the literal dark side of IT, bringing with it some intense hidden dangers. We're talking about unmanaged devices accessing core data. We're talking about unpatched systems leaving massive security vulnerabilities wide open. And, perhaps the most dangerous of all, shadow IT. Think of an employee spinning up an unauthorized, unsecure cloud server just to get a project done faster, completely outside of protocol. In this kind of environment, some nodes are flashing red with critical alerts, while others are just completely silent and invisible. Your hardworking IT teams are forced to work entirely blind. And, well, as the old saying goes, they simply can't fix what they can't see. Section 1. The fragmented IT reality. Working completely blind. But hold on, pause for a second. What if your IT estate could actually see itself, track itself, and fix itself? Imagine an ecosystem that doesn't just sit there in the dark, statically waiting for a human engineer to run a manual vulnerability scan. Imagine a network that actively commands, organizes, and literally runs itself around the clock, automatically finding the gaps and closing them before anyone even realizes there was a problem. Which brings us to Section 2, the agentic AI shift, moving from manual to autonomous. Okay, let's dive into this definition. Agentic AI is artificial intelligence that doesn't wait to be told what exists. It automatically finds and governs every asset in real time. Think of it like a biological, autonomous immune system for your network. It doesn't wait for you to feel sick to start working, right? It actively hunts down anomalies and neutralizes them before the symptoms ever appear. So instead of relying on a human-scheduled scan, ZioSet's agentic AI proactively hunts for every asset, instantly turning those vulnerable red warning nodes into governed, healthy green clusters. It fundamentally shifts your entire IT posture from reactive panic to proactive control. Section 3. Discover, track, and govern, illuminating the blind spots. So, how does this actually unfold across a network? Well, it happens in 5 distinct phases: discovering everything automatically, tracking it, analyzing its status, optimizing the configuration, and finally, governing it continuously. It's honestly incredibly similar to watching a massive dark city's power grid suddenly come online, block by block. The discovery phase is like illuminating the buildings, tracking is mapping all the connecting roads, and optimizing, well, that's like automatically fixing broken traffic lights so the data flows perfectly. It takes chaotic, fragmented data and organizes it into clean, manageable streams flowing back to a central, intelligent core. Now, I know when adopting enterprise AI, there's this massive fear among tech leaders about the dreaded rip and replace. The idea that you're going to have to tear out all your existing software to install something new. But ZioSet acts as a unified, autonomous intelligence layer that sits directly above your existing, fragmented manual tools. It doesn't rip out the infrastructure you spent millions building. It simply integrates with those existing tools to make them infinitely smarter and perfectly aligned. Section 4. The 3 pillars of control. Specifically, ITAM, SAM, and ESM. 12,847. That is the exact number of previously hidden assets discovered almost instantly when the IT Asset Management module got to work in a typical sprawling enterprise. I mean, talk about the sheer shock value of true visibility. This system instantly uncovers thousands of disconnected, invisible devices, phones, laptops, servers, IoT devices, operating right there on the network that the primary IT team literally didn't even know existed. Because the core philosophy of this ITAM pillar is absolute visibility. Know every asset. Think about the massive cybersecurity risk of a ghost laptop just sitting active on a corporate network without any monitoring.
The whole goal of this module is to completely eliminate those blind spots. It ensures that you continuously, without a shadow of a doubt, know the exact status, location, and health of every single piece of hardware operating anywhere in your ecosystem.
Then we look at the software side, where we see numbers like a 97.3% compliance score. Anyone who works in enterprise IT knows the excruciating, mind-numbing manual labor required to hit even an 80% compliance rate normally. So hitting over 97% really highlights the massive automated success rate achieved by the Software Asset Management, or SAM module. Because the ultimate goal here is absolute ownership, owning every single license. Companies waste millions of dollars annually on duplicate, unused, or expired SaaS licenses. It's a massive financial sinkhole for sure. The SAM module takes complete control over this by proactively tracking license badges, monitoring renewal calendars, and enforcing compliance shields. It ensures you completely avoid those catastrophic, incredibly expensive expired software disasters and stops you from paying for software nobody is actually using. Now, to put things into perspective, imagine manually deploying 1,247 complex software patches. That represents weeks, if not months, of tedious human labor. But here, that staggering volume of work is executed autonomously by the Enterprise Service Management, or ESM, module in a fraction of the time. It sends out automated fixes and updates across the entire global network, without anyone on the IT team having to lift a single finger or write a single deployment script. And this drives the ultimate mission of the ESM pillar: protect every endpoint. In this model, the traditional IT help desk queue is essentially the enemy of security. Time spent meeting in a backlog is time a vulnerability can be exploited. This module doesn't wait for human intervention or a ticket to be assigned. It aggressively and instantaneously locks down vulnerabilities to ensure every single endpoint is shielded right now. Now, what's really interesting here is when these three modules interlock, you don't just have three separate tools functioning in silos. You have a unified autonomous engine. You have ITM to know every hardware asset, SAM to own every software license, and ESM to seamlessly protect every endpoint. The hardware, the software, and the security layer are all communicating perfectly with one another. It just becomes a single, always accurate platform that runs your enterprise continuously. Section 5, making your stack autonomous. Building a fully connected ecosystem. There's a core philosophy driving all of this. We don't replace your stack. We make it autonomous. Just let the weight of that sink in for a second. The ultimate goal isn't to force an organization into a painful migration away from the tools they've spent years customizing. The goal is the continuous intelligent automation of what already exists. It's about taking a heavy, manual, deeply stressful administrative burden and transforming it into a self-driving, self-healing ecosystem. The engine driving this transformation is the ZioSet AI platform, designed in India and built specifically for the immense scale and complexity of global enterprise environments. It represents a massive leap forward in how we handle corporate infrastructure. If you're dealing with the chaos we've discussed today, you really should explore the architecture and capabilities yourself over at ZioSetAI.com. So I want to leave you with a provocative question regarding your own specific environment right at this very moment. Is your IT stack working blind, or is it running itself? Thanks for joining me for this explainer. I hope it brought some real clarity to the power of agentic AI, and I'll catch you on the next one.